me paint a picture for you. You're at your son's birthday party and it's time to open the presents. You've gotten him a shiny new PS5 and you want to record his reaction as you bring it out. Now, you've got a couple options to capture this shot. Toss someone your phone and hope they are closer to Scorsese than to Michael Bay. I got it. So here's what we're gonna do, all right? You're gonna give him the box and it's gonna be empty. And then we're gonna look over at the TV and it's gonna be over on the TV. And then it's gonna turn into a robot and there's gonna be explosions everywhere. You can strap a GoPro to your forehead and look like a adrenaline junkie Cyclops. Let's do this. Or you can slip on a pair of these, the Ray-Ban Stories. These smart glasses are here to bridge the gap between what your eyes see and what the cameras see by recording the action in the ultimate first-person view. Now let's take a look. Before we break these down, let's go over the spec sheet. They have dual 5 megapixel sensors, 3 microphones, a 3 to 6 hour battery life, Facebook Assistant, and down-firing speakers on the top of each ear. The image resolution is 2592 by 1944, and the video is 1184 by 1184 at 30 frames per second. If that doesn't sound too impressive when your phone is shooting 4K 60 FPS with a 12 megapixel sensor, you're right. It's not impressive when you compare it to something that is 4, 5, or sometimes 6 times more expensive. What you need to take into account is where these pictures are going to be displayed. The iPhone 13 Pro Max has a screen resolution of 1284 by 2778. So that image these glasses just took is slightly over that. Now, most people consume content on their phones, and for that, these cameras will suffice. Just don't go zooming in. Now, I'm not going to touch too much on the styling of these lenses or frames, as that's completely subjective. Either you like it or you don't. I will go over what happens from the frames back, though, as that's where all the fancy electronics are stuffed. So for starters, the arms? What do you call this part of a pair of sunglasses? Hold on a second. Temples. I guess that makes sense. You know, having a pair of arms draped over your ears isn't really appealing. The temples are a bit girthy when compared to regular glasses, and that's forgivable until we learn how to shrink down those batteries. It's relatively comfortable for short periods of time, but for me, I started to get pain right above my ears from the pressure. Now, this might be a little bit better if you have a smaller dome. They are grippy enough that they don't fall off when moving your head around, and they stayed on during a quick jog. Now, during that job, I got a good feel for the heft of wearing tech on your face. I mean, they aren't much heavier than a normal pair of sunglasses, and when you pick it up, it doesn't really feel heavy. But for everyday use, it's still just a little much. That's just the nature of any glasses with any amount of tech incorporated, though, as the electronics and battery that powers them add unavoidable weight. When compared to something like the Bose frames at 45 grams, the Ray-Ban Stories are pretty on point at 50. Now, speaking of that battery, Ray-Ban claims up to 6 hours of moderate use. Not really sure what moderate use would be with these, or 3 hours of continuous audio streaming. Real-world testing seemed shy of that, but to be fair, I wasn't only audio streaming, rather taking and uploading photos while listening to music like a normal user would. Again, throw your usual sunglasses in your bag because you'll be tossing these in the case to charge during long stints outside. The case can charge these up to 3 times before it needs a charge itself. The glasses can reach 50% in 30 minutes and a full charge in 70. Now let's talk about the interface. There is a switch on the inner left side there to handle your on and off. There's also a button on the top to handle picture with a long press and video with a single tap. The right outer side is touch sensitive and allows for volume control via swiping and pause, play, and skip by tapping. Now, the sensitivity for the controls on the right side is pretty decent. It did register my swipes fairly accurately, and I only had the occasional miss-swipe where it didn't register anything, or it accidentally would pause a track when it thought that I was just tapping. So overall, it was pretty good. There's a light inside here that gives you a status of, if everything's working or it's on. There's also record lights on the outside so that other people can tell that you are recording a video at that time. That's a must-have when you have glasses like this, just for privacy concerns. Now, audio is captured from 3 mics. You have one inside the R of the Ray-Ban logo. There is another one on the inside here, and then a third one down on the bottom of the glasses. But you'll notice they are all on the right side, which is just fine for capturing your voice while you're talking. But if you do have something that's off to your left, you will not be able to have that kind of directional audio. Now, this comes with Facebook Assistant, whatever that means, because Facebook Assistant doesn't assist with anything other than starting and stopping videos and taking photos. So it's kind of a bummer. It's cool that I don't have to touch the glasses to capture a shot, but it'd be nice to be able to pause or skip tracks hands-free. Now, let's talk about some issues. These are not waterproof or water resistant at all. That is kind of a bummer, being that these are supposed to be an upgrade to your regular old sunglasses. Now you need to have a backup pair around for any water sports or beach/pool activities. I wouldn't go exercising in them either because, sweat. Another downside is that the lenses aren't changeable. What you buy is what you're stuck with. If you wanted to upgrade to prescription lenses or a different color down the road, it's not going to happen. Now, there's one problem that may be unique to me, and it's that they make you sweat. I've thrown on shades from a whole bunch of different brands, and not a single one has made my nose sweat. Seriously, it's going to get toasty on your sniffer. This area here is pumping out a fair amount of heat, and where regular glasses have a gap between the bridge and the nose pads, the Stories, well, it's all plastic and keeps that heat in. Now, speaking of heat, I did run into an issue while I was out at the beach the other day, and it was a little unexpected. I was trying to upload a handful of videos to the View app and got a temperature warning. We are in Doha, yeah, but it's winter now and it was 21 degrees out. That is a real concern for using this in the summer months. Is it going to shut down the second I step into the summer heat? Most likely, yeah. Once you get into the cooler indoors and transfer your content to the phone, you'll find that the app is average. There's a tab that allows you to do some 3D effects with your photos, but I found it to be pretty gimmicky. The effect adds blur to spaces that would normally be captured by a true stereoscopic setup that captures 2 images at different angles. The blur is instantly noticeable and pretty distracting. Uploading photos is straightforward and worked almost every time. I say almost because there was a handful of random crashes for the app and a couple error messages that did pop up during the transfer. Now, there is a major benefit to wearing a camera on your head, and that's due to your head acting like a gimbal, absorbing bumps like a champ. We aren't talking about chicken head gimbal level here, but your noggin is pretty good at staying level. There is a downside to this though, because where your eyeballs go, so does the video. I was riding a scooter the other day and I wanted to capture some video of the Doha skyline and the park that I was in and the water. But unfortunately, I constantly was looking down at the map or looking around to try to avoid hitting people. Now, these fling shots of darting back and forth would be avoided if you were using something like a chest cam. There's also the issue of the camera location. Now, when you take a photo or video, it is only being recorded or snapped by the right sensor, not both of them. The one on the left here is only for gathering depth information for those 3D photos, which means, as you can see from the example that I have here, where I lined up the glasses with my monitor and had a straight line from the center of the nose piece to the center of the monitor, you can see that the image is just slightly skewed to the right. That's just something that you have to pay attention to when you're lining up your shots. Now, one of the highlights of these glasses is the crispy audio it delivers. Well, before you go throwing on some bass-heavy tracks, these are not for the audiophile. Mids and lows are completely absent, but those highs are very clear. Listening to a phone call or podcast is a great experience. Unfortunately, it is also an experience that is shared with everyone around you. These blast audios down into your ear, but it seems like most of that is reflected outwards. This is a major downside to having these on for normal use. Those private conversations that remain private when using something like AirPods or headphones turn public pretty quick. Here is a song at full volume, which may seem excessive, but I was regularly maxing out that volume when I was outside. Now realize that this isn't close, but actually pretty far away. Here's how someone sitting next to you would hear it. Okay, so the big question is, do I recommend you run out and grab a pair of these? The answer is, as usual, complicated. They do not offer anything special for video and photo quality. Any modern smartphone or GoPro will beat these hands down. But as I showed in the intro, there are specific use cases that make this a compelling buy. The ability to capture hands-free content from your eyeline can lead to some pretty creative shots, and that can work for some people. For the rest of us, pulling out your phone is going to work just fine. All right, that's going to do it for this review. Now, for those of you that find these glasses interesting and want to pick up a pair, head to Store 974 and take a look. There will be a link in the description to their website, and if you do decide to pick up a pair or anything else from the store, make sure you use the code BartmansBits at checkout for a 3% discount. 3% of that purchase will also go to helping this channel grow. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment, and I'll see you in the next one.